Here we go again with another episode of Back to the Past. I'm Blair. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to narrow this cross beam by about 2 feet. I've got it written down, 82 5/8 inches center to center of these posts. And then that'll give me about 3 inches of clearance each side of the sawmill, assuming that I figured everything right. First thing that I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut this plate off. I'll take it off of this end, and then I'll end up having to cut this beam right here and weld that plate back on just under here at the proper distance. Now, the one thing that I am seeing that I'm a little concerned about, the wheels that came with this, they seem like they're a good heavy-duty wheel. They're ball bearings, but they're all steel, which I've got a feeling might just tear up that concrete that I just got done pouring, unless I could take and round these edges enough that they won't dig into it. So I think I might try that first, but I might end up having to get some rubber tires or something with a rubber tread that is capable of handling maybe 750 pounds each or something like that. Anyway, that is the procedure. I'll get started cutting this plate off. Once I get the plate off, I will cut that beam, and then I'll have to take it over to a welder. And the only thing that I'm concerned about is I might not have brought all my welding stuff from Colorado, so I may end up having to have someone else do the welding on this. We'll find out. I've got a couple holes to drill, and then I'll go ahead and bolt that up, hopefully in perfect place there, and then it'll be ready to weld. what I'll do is I'll put a couple bolts in it to hold it just perfectly. That is ready to weld. I sure hope I have all my welding stuff here. If not, I'll have to find a welder. I did have everything here that I needed for welding. My old generator, and it's 35 years old, it's a gas guzzler, but it still works, at least when it's nice and warm out. But anyway, I've got the generator here. I haven't used it for 4 years, so the first thing I had to do is go get a battery for it this morning. The battery was shot. But I think I have everything here I need to be able to weld this up, so we'll see. I've got a little welding splatter to clean up, and then that baby is ready for paint. When I bought this lift kit a couple years ago, I think it was selling at that time for $699. I got 30% off of that, so I got it for less than $500. Now I think the selling price for it is $899. So I think I got a pretty smoking deal on it. It's extremely heavy built. I'm actually kind of surprised at the weight of all the steel that is in this darn thing. It is rated at 1 ton, but honestly, most of the structural parts on it, I wouldn't be afraid to put 5 tons on the darn thing. The weak spot probably would be that top beam, but like I said before, in shortening that, I've probably almost doubled the capacity of that. So for anything that I'll have to lift here, this will be more than enough. At the time I bought this lift, I didn't even have the area fully developed where I was going to put it. I knew where it was going to go, but that was it. When I got it here, I got to realizing that it was going to be too wide for the area, so no problem cutting that down. I was going to start assembling this thing today, and I thought, just for the heck of it, I'll take some height measurements to make sure that I've got the height to take care of it. Turns out that I don't. This thing, when it's fully collapsed and everything is assembled, will be 99 inches tall. From the beam down to my pad is only 94 inches, so I'm going to have to cut about 6.5 inches off of it. I don't think that'll be a big deal. Harbor Freight did make this extendable to where it fits into anything where you've got a ceiling height between 8.5 feet and 12 feet. So for most mechanics, this thing is just simply awesome. For me, it's a little bit too tall. Best place for me to cut it, I think, will be the top. I'll cut it off here. I'll cut that plate off and re-weld that plate onto that. This pipe, once it's fully extended, actually sticks out to about here as it is, so I'll take about a foot off of that, since I'll never really need to extend this darn thing. And then I'll fully collapse it, and I'm pretty sure that I'll have to cut off that inside tube also. I really don't know where that ends up right now, but I'll probably end up having to cut both of them. All in all, not a big deal, but it's probably going to add another day to my construction. Now, while I work, Gabby gets to digging for critters. She got a little dirty this morning. She honestly does do an exceptional job of keeping critters away, at least while she's outside. This has been kind of an irritating day because of, guess what, the weather. Today was supposed to be a really nice day, and granted we only got about 1/4 of an inch of rain, but it drizzled basically all day long starting about 10:30, and now it's getting close to dark. The posts are all ready to go. I've got the 2 plates to grind down and they'll be ready to go. Hopefully tomorrow I can do some welding, and hopefully tomorrow there's some sunshine. I believe I am finally ready for assembly. I'm kind of looking forward to this, so stick with me and we'll get started. Even when you're careful, sometimes stainless steel galls. So I've got one bolt that I felt it starting to get hard. I should have stopped a lot sooner than I did. Tried backing it off and it is jammed. So I'm going to have to cut this one off and replace it. I guess it really isn't that big a deal if you do have to cut one out, but if you're just about out of bolts, you sure don't want that to happen. Now, when you're dealing with stainless steel, a couple of things. Like I said before, a lubricant helps. And if you're using the smaller ones, like 1/4 inch or the nylock nuts, then absolutely you need lubricant before you even start it. Typically with 1/2 inch and larger, even 3/8 and larger, I don't have any problems, but once in a while you just do. But the nylocks will tend to heat up the threads and heat up the bolt as you're tightening. And I'll bet you, especially with like 1/4 inch or smaller, 5/16 or smaller, if you're using nylock nuts, you're probably going to gall half of them. So start right out with lubricant on smaller bolts or using nylocks. These wheels will be a lot easier to put onto the frames now than after the entire A-frame is assembled and have to be working down on my knees. So I got them up on sawhorses. I'm using 3/8 inch stainless steel bolts and nuts on these. And I am going to use a lubricant on these since I did have a problem with one of the 1/2 inch bolts. The smaller the bolt, the more susceptible they are to seizing. So what I use, or what I like to use, is an ox guard, which is actually the anti-corrosive lubricant that electricians use when they're working on aluminum wire. Seems to work just simply awesome. Never had one gall on stainless steel when I've used Oxguard on them. I knew that was going to be at my upper limits of reach with that tractor, and it definitely was. Had this been another couple inches taller, I wouldn't have made it, and I'd had to think of something else. So I'm glad I got that done. So far, I just have 2 bolts in each side. I didn't lubricate them. They're not even finger tight at this point, but I wanted to get it assembled and at the right height, and I figure now I can jiggle things around enough that I should be able to assemble it correctly. I'll go ahead and get the other 2 bolts in on each side. I might snug those up a little bit so I can pull the 2 out that I've already done and be able to lubricate them and do those properly. And then before I tighten everything, I need to get these diagonal braces put on while I've got a little wiggle room for that. So I won't tighten everything now until it is completely assembled. I reckon I'm not going to finish this tonight after all. The one thing that I didn't take into account is it was by far easiest to cut the bottoms off of these posts, but then that makes the diagonal braces too long, so now I've got to cut all of those. And I'm not going to try doing that anymore tonight. And if it's raining tomorrow, I'm under a roof. I can still work on it. See you then. I've got the diagonal braces ready, I think. Assuming they work well and everything fits, hopefully I'll be able to finally finish this doggone thing. Well, it works. Rolling it would probably be fairly easy for 2 people. I think if I got rid of these steel wheels and got something with some rubber tires on them, would probably work a whole lot better. It is tending to stay in my tracks okay, and that's kind of a positive and negative thing in that those doggone steel wheels really bite into the sides of it, which is part of the reason that it was hard to keep from racking as I was trying to move it. But like I say, rubber tired wheels may help with that. Anyway, it's finished. I got just about the clearance that I wanted on each side. I've probably got close to 4 inches on that side and about 3 inches on this side. So I think everything is good. It's been a real pain for me, but I'm glad that it's done, and thank you for being here with me. I'll see you next time around. Goodbye.